went through all this. And then, okay. Okay, I think that's everything. All right. And, you know, if in your comments you have questions, I'll be happy to address those then, one by one, or afterwards if you want to come talk to me. I'm open to that. Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to hear from Craig Dennis, who was the publisher of the... No, sorry, go ahead. Craig will be up in a second here. He has served on numerous editorial boards. He published the Daily Herald for a number of years. He has been interested in promoting ethical government throughout the United States. He lives in Deer Valley. He's a member of the Provo Rotary Club and on the board of directors of United Way of Utah County, where my wife has known him. I've known him. He's been on the board of trustees in the Municipal League of the Seattle King County up in Washington. And he was the editor of the Stanford Daily and used to work in the in the U.S. Senate as well as state legislator in Olympia, Washington. And he is a registered Republican. Craig?
A little correction, I live up in Provo Canyon.
Okay.
Yep.
What did I say? Oh yeah, Provo Canyon.
Provo Canyon. I teach ski lessons up in Deer Valley, so I have some fun up there.
Oh, you taught him to ski in Deer Valley?
Yeah. Yep. So I have some fun there in the off season. I'm here today to ask you to do the right thing and sign the petition promoting stronger ethics in Utah government. I'm going to make my comments short because I'm sure a lot of you have questions and comments as well. But I got involved when this early on, when there was really about. Can we explain a little bit more about my involvement with the ethics with the commission here?
A little closer to the microphone.
Sure.
It's really hard to hear back here. We got people clear out in the hall.
Okay.
Can you, yeah, you can turn on the lights now, Don, and you might just check with the volume controls against that back corner wall and see if they're all the way up. I don't know which one controls this mic.
Matt, they're already all the way up.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, I'll talk loud. Okay. The committee that puts this initiative together was about 50 to 60 individuals, a cross-section from across the state. I believe in good government. I think we have some issues here to address in Utah. I saw good government practices work in the state of Washington when I lived up there by initiative when the Public Disclosure Act was passed in the 70s. In California, sunshine became king. That said, when I lived in California, I also saw power corrupt. Look at the state's budget mess. I remind you, in that state now, you're pretty much guaranteed re-election if you're a legislature. You're in the assembly or the house. And the strange part about California too, though, is many Senate districts are bigger than congressional districts. It is an issue. It's a huge issue in California, and I think that's one of the reasons they have the impasse they have today. We don't want that to happen in Utah someday. In Utah, we've been fortunate. The legislature and executive branch have been great at managing the state's budget. I know there's some legislators in this room today. Great job. But we also need to put in protections that we stay on top of our game. We have a problem in Utah, and that's low voter turnout. In Washington State, it's always high. Utah, it's low. It indicates a lack of a public engagement. And I believe by addressing ethics reform, we'll help improve that process. We do need stronger voter participation in the state and get more people involved. And frankly, I'm impressed tonight that all of you are here, maybe for or against. That is great. But look at some of the questions, what this addresses today. Should legislators be able to have gifts from lobbyists? Come on, we don't. That doesn't seem appropriate. Or be able to keep campaign funds after your term is done with office. We need to fix some stuff. And this act does that. It might not be perfect, but it corrects so many things that need to be addressed. And it puts in protections for the future. I recently served on a National Trade Association board. We had training in ethics. We had ethics rules and declared our conflicts. Throughout business in the nonprofit world today, as many of us know, new steps are being taken to address ethics concerns. The public demands it. It is now time, and look, we've already got 3 newspapers, Ogden and both Salt Lake newspapers, that have endorsed the initiative. They've taken a look at it, they've seen the problems. It is now time for Utah to put in place reasonable ethics reforms. It is time to move past timidity and be bold. I encourage you to help This is one of 7 hearings being held across the state, and there might be an 8th, as part of this process to get people involved and educate. So I encourage you to take part in the discussion. Agree next. Thank you, Heather.
Thank you, panelists, for your information and providing us with the facts of the matter here. What we want to do now is open it up for questions, and the way we'd like to run this is that we have Don Jarvis and some people who are helping him in the back. Anyone who would like to ask a question, if you would kindly write on a 3x5 card, and I've got a lot of pencils up here, and there may be some in the back there, right? And we have to have this for the requirement of the Lieutenant Governor's office. Your name, your address, your bank account number, no, you don't. The city you live in, and your title. If you have a title, they want your title, like, you know, Your Majesty, whatever. And then raise your hand. I will call on you, and you come up to the stand and ask your question. And we have a limit by law of 2 minutes for your question. And so I will time you, and when you get close to the 2-minute mark, I will I'll indicate to you that you're at 2 minutes. Maybe I'll put my hand on your shoulder or something so you're close to the 2-minute mark.
And then it can also be a statement.
Yeah, you can make a statement if you want to. Yes?
Do you want us to write the question?
No. You don't have to write the question. Just your name, your address, including your city, your county, make sure we know what county you're in, and your title. Okay? Those things. So that we can identify you, and we'll have a record of that. So leave me that, when you come up, then bring me that card, and I'll put it over here, and then we'll use that as a record that goes on that, so we know who asked the question. And we'll try to get balance here. If you'd like to make a statement, you can do that too, but you're only allowed 2 minutes. If you want to direct a question to one of our 3 panelists, you can do that, or I'll direct it to them, or try to answer it myself, whatever.
Tell us the things we need right now.
Okay, your name and your address, including your county. Okay, so we need to know what county you're in. There are 3 counties supposedly here this evening. Thank you, Don. This is Don Jarvis. He's done a great job of doing everything in the back here. And your title. So if you have a title, go ahead. So I assume we're getting things from people. Don Morris, would you like to ask? You can turn that off. I think we're done, right? We're not going to use that anymore. Thank you. Push the button, Don, that says power, and then push it again, and it'll go off. Okay. And if you would come up to the front so we can see you and film you, and you know, who knows where this filming could lead, you know. Okay. So, John Morris, did you want to ask a question?
You want a name, address, and what else?
Name, address, county. Name, address, county, and title. If you have a title like editor of a magazine or something like that.
I'm John Morris.
Oh, John Morris. Okay. Come on over here.
John Morris, live in Pleasant Grove. My question is regarding the campaign funds. Since it's kind of a difficult issue, it's going to be a little bit more difficult of a question. But how do you see the campaign funds being at the end of a campaign or at the end of a term when the person is no longer in office or didn't get into office? How do you see that benefiting those that want to run for office again, considering they'd have to get rid of funds they already have? As well as, how do you see that increasing participation if you lose an election and it's then going to cost that much more time to get benefits, to get donations to people that believe in the same ideals and principles? How do you see that helping people want to run for office again?
Jan, do you want to answer that? So what happens at the end? There's a time period, I think, that might answer the problem.
Right. Excuse me. In the initiative, you can run for office again anytime within 5 years. You can keep the money, you can sit on it. If you run again, you can use it. If you don't run within 5 years, then you forfeit the money.
To who?
Once again, it goes to either to the state school fund or it goes to a charity that